Okay, so video 2. So this is the second part of the video for the conclusion video. So we took a look at the 7th grade data. Once we identified the components, the standards that the students were still struggling with, and like I said, it was 3 or 4 standards. We kind of debated one of them a little bit, but we ended up adding it in the end. Then what we did is we moved to the 6th grade data, and from the 6th grade data, what we did is we looked, because the way our curriculum is set up, and you'll hear the teachers talk about it, is the curriculum is set up so that there's some overlap within the chemistry itself, and we've pulled some 8th grade standards down to 6th and 7th for the actual application of then putting those pieces into play. So what we did then is we looked at the 6th grade data, same situation that we looked for the lowest questions, and then we correlated those to the standards themselves of those questions. And from there, we identified the test questions again to look to see if it was acquisition of knowledge or if it was transfer of knowledge. And it was a combination of both. And then we got into a little bit of a discussion about some areas that, while they aren't showing up as weaknesses, some misconceptions that the teachers brought up that they're still hearing from the students as they tutor. And so we took the data from there and we started to come up with a plan and looking at the resources we had of how can we go back and readdress these areas for the students. With that, we looked specifically at what they've already been taught, because we wanted to offer them new opportunities. If they didn't learn it the first time, our big goal was that we needed to address it differently the second time around. So we actually went in and looked at some areas, started doing some planning. I guided the teachers through the components of who was going to do what. They naturally kind of assigned jobs on who has strengths and what we need to do. And from there, we wrapped up the meeting with some next steps and some plans to come back and reassess the data as they do some summative and some formative assessment with their students. So that will be the next meeting, because currently they're teaching this information as we speak. And so my plan is to follow up with them as they're assessing their students to see how effective this was in reteach, and can we compare some of this information to see if maybe the students just needed a little bit longer to learn it. Overall, very productive, very positive meeting. The teachers are very excited about the chance to have some autonomy as to where to lead their students next. And as far as timing went, I actually used, as I was timing and recording myself, I monitored my time on my phone as I was recording, and I knew I had roughly about 45 minutes, and that's exactly what the meeting took, was right at 45 minutes. And so it worked out well to just kind of watch my time, and as I was double checking that we were still recording. If this works out favorably, they're kind of my guinea pig group this year, and if it's favorable, what I would like to do is one of the members of this team actually comes on board and helps write curriculum with us during the summer, and I would actually like to work this in, because this is not a situation that's unique just to this one campus. This is something that we're seeing across our district, and so it may need to be something that we need to readdress as a district. But I was grateful that these teachers were willing to go back and reassess this and reteach this and work with me on leading them through the process of how do we look at the data and where do we decide what do we need to teach, because that seems to be something that our district as a whole, our teachers really struggle with, is we're a very district rich, or we're a very data rich district. However, what I'm finding, especially even with these teachers, is they can tell you where the problems are, but they don't know how to answer the whys or the next steps. And so that really became the purpose of this meeting. Even though I went into it with the purpose of planning a unit, it really became the how do we look at data, and beyond just what questions were low and what questions were high, but the why behind it, and then what do we put in play as far as our curriculum, our content, our pedagogy for moving forward there. if I had this meeting to do over again, I think I would have asked for a vertical alignment. I think it would have been helpful for the 6th grade teachers that had these students last year to have some input as to areas that they saw last year with this group and even areas that we're still struggling with currently. And then also have the 8th grade team give some input as to what specifically needs to be addressed in order to help these students prepare for the coming school year in this area of chemistry. So I think if I had it to do over again, I would have talked to the teachers. I probably would have had this meeting, but then also I would like to have had a follow-up meeting with the vertical team so that we could come together as a department and talk about the importance and the urgency of getting this information taken care of with our students. My lead principal was very happy with how the meeting went. She's excited that, again, just like the teachers were giving autonomy from the district level to go in and be able to reteach and reassess some of these areas that are concerning for us. So again, I did this specifically with the science team, but I feel like this could also be done with any of the teams. But specifically science and social studies tend to be the topics that they don't build on one another like English and math do. And so it seems kind of disjointed. So sometimes it's nice for us to all get together and see where it's really not disjointed or where we can support one another through the grade levels. So overall, very positive experience. I'm looking forward to seeing what the results are and to talking with the team about what adjustments we would need to make and what next steps we can make, and then carrying it out to our full district director of science to see if she's willing to move forward on this plan. Thank you.